What up, YouTube? It's been a minute since I last did a video. Got distracted with a few other projects, but we're back now working on the 69 Nova. When we last left the car, we just fit the quarter panels on, the rear quarter panels. So where we're at now is we didn't attach them here. We left that loose on purpose. And we've got our panel that goes across the back of the car. So we got movement here. And then also these, whatever they're called, fit right in here. Pet peeve of mine. These guys, when they make these panels, and they gotta stick the sticker on the front of the panel. They're a pain in the butt to get off and they wreck the surface. So what we're gonna do is put the trunk back on so we can get our spacing right for our gaps between the trunk and these panels. So I'm gonna throw the trunk lid on, lower it down, and then clamp everything. And then we'll weld that panel in across the back to hold it, firm up our joints there. And yeah, go from there. So now I've got the back panel just screw tapped in there to where it's gonna fit good. And we've now got the trunk lid on. It's not too bad. Be some additional fiddle farting around. So I'm just checking the corners right now, but I had an 1/8 of an inch here. Then I had an 1/8 of an inch right there. Up here, I had 3/8 of an inch at the corner. And here I was a little bit more. I'm, what am I? Flip this thing around. 1, 2, 3, I'm a 1/2 inch. So, but I think I can still pull this quarter panel in more to the body up here. So it shouldn't be too bad overall. Fairly uniform at least. These things don't fit great. So I've had to just kind of bend them and manipulate them. So that one's in. This one needs a little bit more fiddle farting around here to get it to fit right, but pretty sure I can do it based on what I just did with the other one. So yeah, next steps I guess will be finish up, try to pull that in and weld it up, weld that side up, and we'll weld in these rear panels. So we're going to tie in the driver's side, the back deck to the rear quarter panel. So here's how I'm going to do it. So I was able to move this in quite a bit. Just the panel just kind of popped over, and I can still even move it a little bit more. So what we're going to do, I drilled these holes here, and this is zinc weld through primer. I'm just going to weld that plate there, pull the other side over, weld it, and then we'll run a bead weld up the center. So I've tied the quarter panel in to the body here. You can see where it's all welded in. I still have to attach it here. Yes, safety third. But I got a bigger problem. Up here in the styling line of this roof, probably can't see it in the video, that ridge is 7/8. This ridge doesn't line up, and it's 1.25 inches. So it's wider and it doesn't line up. So it's kind of a major problem. I've horsed around with this thing. I can't get it lined up any better. So I am contemplating making a slit down here. I'll step it down, bring it over, weld it, grind it, to put this surface in line with this surface. The other side's out too, but not nearly as bad. So I'll give you an update on that shortly. Okay, so I've cut all along there. Now you can see I can fold it under like that and line it up. What I'm gonna have to do to get my surfaces right is, once I tucked it underneath there, I drew a line all the way down, and then I'll follow that line with this handy little tool that will step the part down. So that'll put it, I'm supposed to put it in the same plane. It doesn't always exactly work out, but it'll be close. And then we'll finesse the rest once it's in there. So we've got the quarter panel welded up. So you can see now how it sweeps right up. And it's the same width at the roof, and it lines up. I wasn't, stepping the part down didn't work out so well, so I ended up just butting them together and stitch welding them all the way down, and then grinding them down. So now the next part is just to tie this whole hot mess here together up at the top. And then we'll move on to the other side. So this rear cross piece is now welded in place. Went in pretty easy. So the next step is putting these corner braces on. But one of the things I don't like is, can't really see in the video, but there's hardly any material catching there to weld to the trunk pan. And when we look at the original, which is over here, you can see there's hardly any space there either. So to me, that's kind of chintzy. So what I did was I just made up this little piece. I'm just gonna weld it right on here, and that'll bring that down there and give me some weld attachment points that are more solid. Here's the part with the extension added on. So now you can see we have much better surface contact and 4 small little holes to plug weld there. So we'll get a lot stronger attachment point there. So here are the corner supports all in now. And the last piece to go in goes right there. And it is this right here, which is the trunk lock mechanism, the receiver for the trunk lock. So I don't even think you can get this aftermarket. So I'm gonna cut this one out, clean her up, and we're gonna reuse this exact one here. We're gonna do our first stage of filler between the roof line and the rear quarter panel. We're using Bondo with some short strand reinforced fiberglass filler. So that's going to add strength to the joint there. Even though I've welded it on the inside, I'm still going to put this in for the first stage to tie it all together. So this is the first stage of the body fill for that joint, which is the fiberglass, or the body filler with the short strand fiberglass in it. Once that dries, we'll give it a sand, and then we'll go on with the rest of the body filler. So to cut this trunk lock receiver out, I actually cut the whole section out of the trunk to make it easier to cut out without wrecking the part. So you can see underneath here, It was attached underneath, and then right here. So I'm going to cut it here, and I'll weld it there. I'm going to try to maintain those clips, and then what I'll do up here is I'll have holes in the new part, and I'll just weld it there. Here are the parts cleaned up, so I got them cut away. So it's actually in two parts. This is to make the lock receiver height adjustable, so you can adjust the height of your trunk coming down to the back of the car. So pretty rotted out there at the bottom. So we're just gonna build a piece in there to give us a good attachment point to weld on the trunk. And that should be it for that. So we've now got the quarter panels tied in to the roof. So have to prime that side a little bit. The only thing left to do from an install perspective is right along here, there's no pins for the window trim clips. So what you usually do there's a few options, but what I'm going to go with is these. Let's see if I can get it there. These little special screws. You can see that there's a bit of a shoulder there for the clip. So you just have to lay out, I think it's 3 per side. One of the things I wish I would have done was take the measurements off the old quarter panel before I chucked it. But I did find the dimensions online where they go. So yeah, so that's it for the rear trunk, or the back end of the car is pretty much complete. And we'll be on to the next section.